Hello and welcome back to another video, and this is a very much unscheduled, unplanned reaction video. Reaction to what, you may ask? As the title suggests, Microsoft, and how they, in their bumbling way, are, I don't know, trying to take over the world, or I don't know. A lot of things that Bill Gates says and preaches is just absolute garbage. And a lot of it is also evident in the, let's call it, legacy that he's left behind of Windows. So if you haven't seen news recently on Twitter or X or whatever it's called, and basically now everyone else is catching up. So BBC have just published something 30 minutes ago as of recording this. It is 1:30 p.m. on Friday the 19th of, it is July, isn't it? It is July. And everyone is titling this issue as a global IT outage. What the hell does global IT outage mean? Like that's such a blanket term that it almost doesn't mean anything at all. IT, information and telecoms. Okay, so what, the internet has gone down? Some servers have gone down? A cable has been cut? Another shark has chewed for a mid-Atlantic communications cable? No, something that's been peeing me off a lot ever since computers have become permanently connected to the internet is Microsoft's insistence on pushing updates as and when it feels necessary, or not even necessary, but just as and when it feels like it wants to or can. The problem with that is, for systems in professional environments, it's an inconvenience at best. And you might say, but oh, hang on, there's Windows Pro for getting around that. No, Windows Pro is in no way excluded from the absolute drivel of updates that Microsoft pushes onto its operating system. I use Windows Pro on all of my machines. I'll get to why in a minute, and I'll get to why I don't want to following that. I use Windows, let me rephrase that. I only use Windows Pro because the Windows Home Edition, or whatever it's called nowadays, is, for lack of a better term, useless, because it lacks certain features and just things you expect to be able to do as a, let's say, an old school computer user or a power user. You know, certain things you cannot do with home versions or the stripped down version. Okay, and so the reason I have to use Windows of my industry, the majority of the software that we use for configuring and programming the systems will only run on Windows. There is one exception that runs on iOS, no, not iOS, Mac OS, and I have a dedicated MacBook Pro specifically for dealing with those situations. But that's an aside. So I have to use Windows because the software dictates what operating system I have to use, blah, 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 blah. If it wasn't for that developmental narrow-mindedness, I would gladly switch to any Linux. Lightweight Ubuntu are some of my favorite to use, like Xubuntu, Lubuntu, or just general Ubuntu. Although there's no distro called General Ubuntu. Is one called General? Hang on, look this up. No, there isn't. It just takes you to the site. Anyway, so sorry, just reading a few more bits here about what some people are now updating, following up on this news, and they're saying that all systems running on either Mac, Unix-based servers, or Linux-based servers are unaffected and not impacted by the issue. I wonder why that is. I'll tell you why that is. So Linux takes a lot of its practice from old school Unix servers. When an update is available, that update has to be administered by an administrator or installed by an administrator. And the only way an administrator is going to do that is if a system is not currently in use. If someone is using a system or a service or whatever, then the updates are just not automatically pushed out because they understand how unsafe it is. Especially if something's untested, then yeah. Microsoft, on the other hand, their ethos, their belief, their lack of moral direction is more like, we deem these no, let me rephrase. We deem these updates important, you will have them. If you do not take them, you will have them. If you do not want to install now, you will have them. If you want to wait until later, you will have them. And then before you know it, your computer's restarting into a blue screen of death, and well, that's home time then, I suppose.